lovelies, I hope you're all doing well. So today I'm going to be talking about my experience on Accutane, and if you don't know what Accutane or raw Accutane is, it's basically a skin medication for severe acne. And before I get started with this video, I just want to quickly say, and it's kind of stating the obvious, but I'm not a doctor, I'm not a dermatologist, so please don't leave me questions saying, you know, this is my skin type, do you think I should go on Accutane or not? Because I really am in no position to give you that kind of advice. It is a prescription medication, so you need to go to your doctor and then to your dermatologist and talk to them about it. But yes, today's video is going to be my experience on the medication, and I'm going to start with how my skin was before Accutane, so you kind of get an idea as to why I went on the medication. I first started breaking out when I was about 11 or 12 years old, quite young. It was on my face and on my back. Now the back was definitely the worst part because I just couldn't wear singlets or any kind of shirts like that would expose my back, because obviously I didn't want anyone to see the acne there, so that was pretty difficult. I remember the first thing I started trying was kind of drugstore things. So my mum was buying me Neutrogena, Clean and Clear, Clearasil, all those various brands, and they really didn't do anything. So after a couple of years of trying those out, my mum bought me like this really expensive organic skincare things, like really natural products designed for acne skin, and again they didn't work, so that was money down the drain. Early high school, it was still pretty bad. The acne on my face was still kind of moderate but not severe, and I was getting really bad blackheads on my nose and also acne on my back. And another skin issue that I've always had is extremely oily skin, and when I say oily, I mean really oily, to the point where I'd apply my makeup at say 7 o'clock, by around 10 or 11 my face was already shiny and I'd have to blot. By like 12 or 1 I'd be powdering, and by around 2-3 o'clock my makeup just didn't look fresh anymore and my skin looked gross, and by the end of the day all my foundation would have just kind of seeped into my pores. So oily skin is always something I've had a real issue with. And then also an oily scalp. I'd have to wash my hair every single day no matter what I tried, like the whole training your hair where you just kind of persistently try not to wash it every day to kind of train your hair not to overproduce oils. Didn't work for me. I couldn't even use dry shampoo. I know sometimes I'd try to like wash my hair every second day, so I'd try and dry shampoo on the second day, but dry shampoo just wasn't strong enough to absorb all the oil in my hair, and even if it did, it would only last a couple hours, and then by like midday my hair would be greasy again. So that was really difficult. Anyway, kind of later on in high school I tried Proactive. That didn't do anything. I tried the what's it called, the Clinique 3-step skincare system. Again, a lot of money, that did absolutely nothing. And then I think it was around year 11 I started working in pharmacy, so I was kind of surrounded by more medicated skincare, and I tried the what's it called, the benzoate cream, which is again a benzoyl peroxide. They have various strengths. This is the 5%. I also tried the 2.5. So like I said, this is a benzoyl peroxide, and then I was using it in conjunction with Cetaphil, which is just a gentle cleanser. Still did absolutely nothing. My blackheads were getting really bad, like they were kind of spreading all along the cheeks here. I had extremely open pores all over my face and very congested skin. So anywho, by year 12 and first year of university, I'd just kind of given up. I'd learnt to just deal with my dodgy skin. I would just wear really heavy foundation to cover up all my blackheads and open pores and any acne I'd have. If I wanted to wear like a dress or a top that had an exposed back, I would have to put foundation on my back, which did look a bit kind of patchy and dodgy, but still better than showing acne that I had on my back and all the scarring and red marks. So basically I just kind of learnt to deal with it and just wore a shitload of makeup. And my dad was like, well, why don't you just go to a doctor and get your skin sorted out? I went to the doctor, told him, you know, I want to see a dermatologist for acne on my back and my face, and straight away he just gave me a referral to a certain dermatologist. So I called up, made an appointment. I had to wait about 2 months because generally there is quite a long waiting list to go see your dermatologist, but eventually I did get to go see him, and I basically explained to him all the things I had tried. So the first thing he put me on was an antibiotic called minomycin, and I was on the 50 milligram. So I was taking this and then using it in conjunction with a topical cream, which is different, and this is just obviously still an acne treatment cream. So that's what it looks like. I did finish that one up. This was the 0.1%, so I was using these two together. Didn't see any results or anything, didn't see any difference in my skin, and then basically we were kind of stuck because I had really tried all of my options, and it's when my dermatologist brought up Accutane. It was something I had heard of before and I actually knew quite a bit about, so I didn't really have to do too much research. Before I started, I did have to have a liver function test just to make sure that my body could handle the medication. Also, you're not allowed to be pregnant at all because it does have a 99% chance of birth defects in your baby, so obviously you can't get pregnant or be pregnant on Accutane. But anyway, my liver function test was fine, and so I got to start Accutane. I was on the 20 milligram. I was taking the generic brand. I don't have an issue with generic brands whatsoever, probably because I work in pharmacy. 20 milligram, 1 tablet twice a day, so I'd have 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. This is what the tablets look like. So when you start the medication, you will get like a little sample pack of skincare and just little various information booklets. So for example, I got this booklet called Raw Accutane, so basically it just has a lot of information on the medication, and I just want to quickly read out a couple things just for those of you who don't really know too much about the medication. They also tell you about a long list of possible side effects. And they also have a list of more severe side effects, which you have to stop taking the medication immediately if you experience these, and tell your doctor immediately. And unfortunately for me, when it came to the common side effects, I actually experienced most of them. So now I'm going to kind of get into my experience, like my kind of journey whilst taking Accutane. So I started taking it, and the first thing I noticed on day 1 to about day 3 was my skin on my face felt like it was sunburnt. It was like not excessively red, but it was a little bit red and tight, and it just had that really bad sunburn feeling. I also noticed in the first couple of days that my eyes were a little bit sore, and towards like the middle or the end of the week, I can't exactly remember, but I just remember that my joints were hurting a lot, especially my back. There was one night where I just couldn't sleep, I just couldn't get comfortable. It was really painful to just lie down. By the second week, the sunburnt feeling was gone. My joints were still a little bit tender, but not as bad anymore. So I was getting a lot more kind of pimples and whiteheads on my face and on my back. And I also noticed towards the end of the week 3 that my nose was extremely bumpy, and that was actually the blackheads getting pushed through, which sounds really disgusting. Basically Accutane just pushing out all the growth, congestion and blackheads and ugh. But anyway, so I was kind of using that for about a month, and then I actually had a really weird reaction where my eyes went extremely puffy, so that kind of freaked me out, and straight away I stopped taking the medication. I went to my doctor because I couldn't get in to see my dermatologist, and my doctor really had no idea what was happening, so she just said stop taking the medication for now, have some antihistamines, and then go see your dermatologist as soon as you can. So around 2-3 days later, I got to go in and see my dermatologist, and he said that he wasn't exactly sure what was happening. We couldn't really tell if it was just some random reaction I'd had to something else or if it was the Accutane, but just to be safe, of course, I did stop taking Accutane for 2 weeks. The swelling kind of mostly went down, but my eyes were still a little bit puffy and very kind of purple, like I looked a little bit like my eyes were a bit bruised. And but anyway, after 2 weeks, I decided to go back on the medication, and my eyes didn't get worse or anything like that. This time I actually started off at half my dose, so I was just taking 1 a day for the first couple of weeks, and that actually really helped with all the symptoms that I had had initially. Like my joints didn't hurt anymore at all. My skin didn't feel sunburnt again. It was basically just kind of going back to clearing out all the acne. Another new symptom that I started getting was a blood nose, and I don't mean like I had blood gushing out of my nose, but it was more like my nose was so dry that it was getting a little bit bloody as well. And I actually had the whole blood nose thing for my whole course of Accutane. So for all those months on Accutane, I'd always have just a little bit of blood up my nose, which is well, but my doctor did say, you know, if it gets a lot worse, then let me know straight away and we'll stop on the medication. But it wasn't too bad, so I kept going. My skin did start to get dry in around the 2nd month. Not too bad, but still quite dry. My lips were getting quite dry and chapped as well, so I was using lip balm. And my favourite combination was I'd start off with 1 layer of the Blistex Intensive Repair, and then I'd put on another layer of lip balm using just Carmex, and that was the best kind of combo I could find for my extremely dry lips. I remember one night I must have forgot to put lip balm on or something like that, because I woke up the next morning and I actually had a slit in my mouth. So nothing like severe like the Joker or anything like that, but there was a little cut. You couldn't really see it, but I could definitely feel it. So there was just a cut on the side of my lip. I couldn't really do anything about that. I just kept making sure it was moisturized, and after a while it did heal by itself. But my biggest tip with Accutane is just start wearing heaps of lip balm the moment you start the medication. Even if your lips aren't dry yet, just get yourself in the habit of applying it every morning, every night, and always carrying around at least a tub of lip balm with you throughout the day, because yeah, your lips do get really dry and chapped. I just couldn't wear lipstick anymore, couldn't wear lipstick, lip gloss or anything, just lip balm on my lips. After a while my skin did get very dry on my face. It was quite flaky. There's not really much you can do about that except for keeping it moisturized. Dermatologist did tell me not to use too many products on the face, just kind of let the medication do its own thing. So I did kind of limit the products on my face to just a light serum and then a extremely thick moisturizer. And my skin on my body was getting extremely dry as well. I have actually recently done a video for people with extremely dry skin, and I was recommending a lot of products, so I'd recommend you guys go check out that video. I'll make sure to link it in the down bar, but I just recommend a lot of good body oils and moisturizers that really helped the skin on my body feel a lot softer and just less flaky and gross. And I also did recommend some facial products. So that's kind of how I dealt with my dry skin. I've had a lot of people ask me how I applied makeup, like how did foundation look. It did look kind of gross at times, especially if my skin was extremely flaky. The best thing I found was using a buffing brush to apply my foundation. If I used my fingers, it would just kind of drag along and drag all the dry skin with it, and it just looked horrible. But if you just use a kind of buffing brush and just kind of press the foundation in your skin, that's probably the easiest way to apply it. And then of course you can be just very lightly exfoliating your skin if you find there's a lot of kind of dry skin buildup. I did just use a very light exfoliator just around my nose, just to kind of smooth over the skin. I can say now that I've been on both sides of the spectrum. Like, I've had extremely oily skin and I've had extremely dry skin, and I actually can say that even though you need a lot more products to manage with dry skin, its makeup still looks so much better than it does on oily skin. Like, oily skin just can't handle makeup. It just slides off so easily. When I was on Accutane, I would put my makeup on at like 8 in the morning and it would still be there by 8 p.m. It would just last on my skin so much better. So that was pretty awesome. Another thing that I absolutely loved was that my hair and my scalp was always dry. Never had oily hair. I could go for 1 or 2 weeks without washing my hair and it would still look fresh. Obviously I didn't, because that is disgusting. I think the longest I went without washing it was about a week and a half, which I know is still disgusting, but I just wanted to kind of test how long I could go for. But so I would be washing my hair maybe once a week, kind of lost track after a while, to be honest, but that was so awesome, not having to wash your hair every fucking day. So then towards the end of Accutane, my skin was mostly clear. My face was basically perfect by now. Most of my blackheads had disappeared, which really does change the way your skin looks. I can just tell you now, like, my skin looks so different without blackheads now. I do still have extremely open pores. Obviously you can't change the size of your pores, but they just look so less congested and a lot easier to cover now with makeup. I was still getting a couple of breakouts on my back, but it was generally clear, and the Accutane had helped with some really old scarring I had. It just had helped with kind of skin renewal, and so a lot of my old scarring kind of faded a little bit. I still do have some scarring and pigmentation, but I'm working on kind of getting rid of that. The things I mainly struggled with were, I mean, the dry skin did get bad towards the end of Accutane. Your skin is so incredibly dry, and that it is hard to deal with, but it is manageable. One thing that annoyed me the most was dry skin around my eyes. Fine lines were, not only they were a lot more prominent, but there was a lot more of them. Like, I remember a couple times if I'd wear makeup, I'd get fine lines under my eyes, and even sometimes I would get like a fine line that would start under the eye and kind of drag down towards the cheek as well, and it just, I kind of feel like Accutane aged me a bit. So if you're a more mature person going onto Accutane, just be warned that it will make all your fine lines a lot more apparent. And I'm only 20 years old, and I felt like I looked a little bit older when I was on Accutane. Since being off though, the fine lines have kind of gotten a little bit better. I don't get any of those weird long lines coming out anymore. It's a lot more manageable now, and I can wear concealer a lot easier. So I do recommend when you're on Accutane as well, make sure you invest in a good eye serum and a good eye cream to keep that area hydrated. But I don't know, I'm kind of running out of things to say now. I think I've covered everything. The moment I kind of got off Accutane, my skin did start changing again. Obviously went from extremely dry to kind of slowly going back to normal-ish. I was still getting quite dehydrated skin for the first couple months, but the dryness wasn't as bad anymore. And I think today, now I can say my skin is kind of settled at normal. Some days it will lean more kind of normal dry. Some days I will find that it leans more normal kind of oily, but generally more to the dry dehydrated side. But I'm really happy to say that my skin is kind of normal at the moment, which is where I'm happy. Obviously, I don't want really oily skin, I don't want really dry skin. I'm kind of happy at the medium. My dermatologist did say that it is quite common for a lot of people to kind of go back to oily skin, how it was before, but most likely it will never be as bad as it used to be. So I'm kind of hoping my skin is just settled now and will stay at normal. I don't really break out on my face at all anymore unless it's a reaction to like a new skincare or makeup item that I'm using that my skin doesn't like. But apart from that, my face is always clear. I do still sometimes break out on my back, and my dermatologist did say if it starts to get worse to go back to him, and then I'll have to do another shorter course of Accutane just to kind of get rid of it, because it is common for some people after being on Accutane that their acne will come back. Fingers crossed that won't be for me. Along with my skin sort of settling at normal, so did my scalp. I find I have to wash my hair about every 3 days now, which I'm really happy with, still so much better than once a day. Usually I'll wash my hair and then it will be fresh for about 2 days. The third day I'll use dry shampoo, which now works on me, and then that night I might wash my hair or something like that, but still a lot more flexible than what it used to be. One thing I didn't talk about is price. Now this does vary. I am on Medicare, which is a certain kind of health thing here in Australia. I know it's very different for people around the world. We're pretty lucky in Australia, we do have a very good healthcare system, but I have heard people from the US who have been on Accutane, they've been spending like hundreds of dollars on the medication, which is crazy. Because of having a Medicare card, it would cost about $36 for me. So one box of this, which contains 60 capsules, would be around $36. The dermatologist appointment is extremely expensive. It is expensive, but in my opinion, totally worth it. I'm so happy with my skin now. Overall, I'm really happy. If I've forgotten to talk about anything, just let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry it was so long, but I did want to cover everything, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!